What's going on, Socialites, and welcome back to the second episode in our series getting our fellow coaches and Socialites ready for our Season 8 Global Pokemon Society Draft League featuring VGC Doubles in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Our last episode, if you missed it, was kind of just an introduction to the format and going over what we will be talking about through the remaining videos this week. So today, for our next video, we are going over perhaps the most powerful core strategies in the game. If Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was being played as an actual competitive format, this is what we would be seeing here. Weather is so powerful in this generation because even though Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl was marketed as faithful Gen 4 remakes, it still has a lot of mechanics and additions from later generations that still carried out. The biggest ones being the automatic weather setters. Which is huge. Remember, back in Gen 4, the only automatic weather setters you had were Kyogre and Groudon for rain and sun respectively, and they were banned in most formats. Tyranitar for sand and Abomasnow for hail. Also, you had Hippowdon for sand. But sand and hail really didn't have key strategies. We'll go over that a little bit more. But in Gen 5, a couple Pokemon, Politoed and Ninetales, got hidden abilities respectively for Drizzle and Drought, therefore allowing, non-restricted formats to have rain and sun, the more powerful offensive weathers. And then in Gen 7, Pelipper and Torkel were both given secondary abilities to have Drought and Drizzle as well. So up here, we're going to just go through the different setters. These are just some sample movesets that I put up. Thankfully, we're starting off with Politoed, perhaps the biggest, most popular weather setter. The power of rain. Rain is definitely S tier. It is the format. Everything kind of centers around rain and rain abusers. We'll go over those as we kind of go through this. But Politoed was nerfed quite a bit. It lost some great moves such as Helping Hand, which was huge for it, and Muddy Water. I believe it also lost. Let me double check that actually. It did lose Muddy Water. Yeah, it did lose Muddy Water. And it also lost Icy Wind, which was huge speed control for it. So the reason it's still very good is just because of its great bulk. And in the rain, those Scalds are still going to do a lot of damage. And it still has access to Perish Song as an alternate win condition for a lot of teams. So Politoed, definitely big. But if for some reason you miss out on Politoed, do not fear. You still have Pelipper, who is... It still gets Drizzle, so it's still great. Pelipper is more of an offensive weather setter compared to Politoed. As you see, it has a respectable 95 special attack. And still decent bulk, but it's not like the best. It's not like Politoed's. And it has that 4 times weakness to electric attacks, which can be pretty tough. But if you pair it with a Lightning Rod user, perhaps... For example, you could pair with a Lightning Rod user. Maybe instead of Tailwind, you could go with U-Turn and just U-Turn out on the first turn, protecting Pelipper from any electric attacks. You do have to watch out for Fake Out and stuff, but yeah, that's an option as well. But even Tailwind for more speed control if your opponent has stuff to stop your weather, always good. Yeah, and Hurricane being 100% accurate in the rain, so Pelipper can hit relatively hard. You could also Scarf Pelipper, again, on the matchup. But just both the Rain setters, great. Great, great, great. So if Rain is S tier, you actually have a pretty big drop. Sun is probably more of like a B plus, like a high B tier strat. I can't even call it like A tier. Just because, and we'll get into this when we go through the weather abusers, a lot of them were really nerfed this generation. But as far as the weather setters go, you do have Torkel, who is not only the best sun setter in the game, but can also operate on Trick Room teams. Now, he does also get some other moves that you could use, such as Yawn is always a pretty solid one. Maybe you could replace either Solar Beam or Eruption with it. No, Protect is just really important. We'll talk more about Protect in a later video, but you want Protect on a lot of your Pokemon in this format. So yeah, Torkel, good stuff. You draft Torkel, you can run a dual Sun/Trick Room team. Great piece to build around. For the other Sunsetter, you have Ninetales, who's more of just a fast, all-out Sunsetter. You want to throw the Focus Sash on that because it is very frail. Heat Wave, it gets a great spread move in Heat Wave as well, with its nice, well, not nice, but decent 81 special attack for this generation. Will-O-Wisp to get those fast burns off as well. You could also run some moves such as Memento to reduce your opponent's stats at the cost of Ninetales Fainting, of course, but if you no longer need the Sun, for example, it will reduce their attack and special attack by 2, which is great in the end game. Other than that, you got some stuff like Baby Doll Eyes, but nothing too crazy. Hypnosis could always be good as well. You could throw Hypnosis on Ninetales, try to get some fast sleeps off. Of course, you got the 60% accuracy, but that's the world we have to live in. The Sunsetters aren't bad. Again, when we get to the abusers, you'll see why Sun is kind of limited. Tyranitar, you also have Hippowdon as a Sand Setter, but I'm not really going to go over Hippowdon. Tyranitar is just way better than Hippowdon because, one, it gets the Sand typing, or the Rock typing, so in the Sandstorm, it gets that extra 50% special defense boost, which is great, and it just has pretty solid typing for doubles. Now, you would run Rock Slide and Crunch for your dual stab. Usually Dragon Dance to make up for Tyranitar's low speed. If you can do like a redirection or a fake out into Dragon Dance on turn 1, that's usually pretty strong. You want to try and get those Rock Slides off before your opponent so that you can get those flinches. And usually you'll run Protect because you want to make sure that a random fighting move doesn't kill you on the first turn. You want to scout out what your opponent might have, but you could also run some coverage moves such as Fire Fang or Ice Fang as well. Maybe that would go over like Crunch in this set, but max HP, max attack, Adamant. Again, you want to use Tyranitar's bulk and power to your advantage. But again, the Sand and Hail are very defensive strategies. They provide defensive utility for their abusers, not really offensive. So again, Tyranitar getting more special defense on itself is great. Then we have our lone Hail setter, Abomasnow. Abomasnow, kind of like Torkel, can fit on like Trick Room teams quite a bit. Has access to Aurora Veil. Might be, I think it is the only Pokemon in the game that has access to Aurora Veil, so that is a unique thing Abomasnow can do, is get those dual screens in one turn. Now, Hail as a strategy isn't really a thing in this generation, and again, we're going to be moving on to the abusers in a moment, but if you're going to make a Hail team, it's really more just a Blizzard spam team. so you got to be careful about that. Of course, ice is not the best defensive type, especially in doubles where moves such as Heat Wave and Rock Slide are so effective and they're spread damage. So if you're running several ice types, you're just going to get killed really fast. But moving on now to a little bit different version of weather setters. So those are the automatic weather setters. Then you have your prankster Pokemon. Now back in Gen 4, if you want, weather was introduced in Gen 2. Didn't see much play. Gen 3, you started to see some play as abilities came out for certain Pokemon. Gen 4, again, you saw a lot of weather play, but you had to set it up automatically. Now, in Gen 4, there was no Prankster. Prankster wasn't added until Gen 5. So we are playing again in this Gen 4 Plus format where Prankster exists. And while I don't have it on these Pokemon, all of these Pokemon get access to Sunny Day and Rain Dance. So if you would rather use your high tier picks to pick a weather abuser, and then maybe you pick one of these Prankster Pokemon more down in the A or B tier, you're still going to be able to get those weathers off first turn before anyone else really. You gotta be careful about fake out, of course, for most of these guys, but yeah, it's not like out of the question. You could even just double protect turn 1 and then do it the next turn if you want to play around fake out. But yeah, Prankster is huge for these weather teams and for fighting against weather teams. Remember, if you're again, we'll kind of go over this a little bit later, but if I have a Murkrow on my team, they send out Politoed, and I do Sunny Day with the Murkrow, I'm overriding that weather. They gotta switch in and out, giving me momentum for all that. I'm weakening their water attacks now with the harsh sunlight, so huge stuff. But yeah, but there's only 5 Pokemon with Prankster in this game. You got Murkrow, who's best known for its Prankster Tailwinds, but you get some great moves. You get Snarl as a very good utility attack move off that 85 base special attack. Thunder Wave for speed control. It also gets access to Quash for speed control as well, forcing a Pokemon to go last. It also gets Taunt, which can be used. Murkrow has a lot of good tools for sure. Foul Play as well if you'd rather use that over Snarl. I wouldn't have more than one attacking move on Murkrow though, and Snarl is just a great utility move, reducing both Pokemon special attack. Next we have Sableye. Sableye, probably the best, actually not probably, yes, is the best Prankster Pokemon. For 1, it is Ghost, so it can't be faked out. 2, it is Dark, so it beats other Prankster Pokemon. Kind of like Murkrow, but Ghost and Dark is huge. Gets access to Snarl like Murkrow does as its main attacking move. You could also run, again, Foul Play in certain matchups, or Nightshade for more consistent damage if that's what you want. It gets access to Fake Out. It's the only Prankster Pokemon who gets access to Fake Out, which is huge. Gets access to Will-O-Wisp and gets access to Recover. So in a lot of matchups, especially with Sableye only having the 1 weakness to Fairy types and Fairy being pretty rare in this format, you know, you're gonna have to basically spend your A or S tier pick to get a decent Fairy type. Sableye can often just recover off a lot of damage, especially in the late game. If you're able to just Snarl a bunch of special attackers, burn the physical attackers, and just recover off the damage, Sableye can do a lot of work for sure. Next we have Volbe. Volbe and Illumise. They're very similar Pokemon. Illumise is actually better in doubles than Volbeat is for a couple things. 1, Volbeat is a physical attacker, so you know you have to play around like Intimidate. Its best attack is Lunge, which does reduce the Pokemon's attack stat by 1 when it's hit, so that's great. You get access to Encore with both of them, Thunder Wave with both of them, Helping Hand with both of them. All these are great moves. If your opponent protects in front of you, one turn, you can encore them next and basically get a free turn on them because they'll be forced to protect and fail. So not only do you get a free turn on them, but they're going to have to switch out because they can't just keep protecting for 5 turns. But I like Illumai's better. One, again, because it is a special attacker, so you can run Bug Buzz as your main stab and not worry about being intimidated or anything. Not that you want to really be attacking with your Prankster Pokemon, but again, it is an option. And she gets access to Fake Tears, which is huge. Getting that -2 special attack right off the bat, or excuse me, special defense right off the bat on some of these Pokemon, allowing some of your faster special attackers to get these one-hit KOs that they might not get initially. Huge stuff for sure. I really like Illumai's, and again, all these Pokemon get access to the Sunny Day and Rain Dance for controlling weather or taking away from your opponent. And the last Prankster Pokemon we have is Riolu. Now, Riolu, while it is the quote-unquote weakest Prankster Pokemon we have, still has a lot of interesting utility. Bullet Punch, just priority to pick some stuff off. Again, these Prankster Pokemon, you don't want to have to attack with them if you can. Swagger, which is great against special attackers because you don't care if their attack gets raised, and confusing them. Helping Hand to take out or to help your teammates take out opposing Pokemon. And I really like Howl on Riolu. It gives it a attack boost and its partner an attack boost. So on a physical team, this will help you counteract Intimidates. You get a couple of these off, it's going to be great. It's like getting a Swords Dance while your Pokemon is still attacking. Huge stuff for sure. Riolu saw a lot of play in, well, not a lot, but saw play in Sword and Shield as well because of the move Coaching. Howl's kind of like a slightly worse Coaching. But Ryolo gets a lot of other moves as well that you can use. You get moves such as Copycat, which can be interesting in certain matchups. You know, just you'll have to look up some videos. Like, there's some weird things you can do with this, but it is an option, and I think it does. No, it doesn't get Thunder Wave. It got something else too, I believe. Roar. Some people will run Roar on Riolu. That's not bad. Feint. Feint isn't too bad. Again, it's a priority move, so you can use that over Bullet Punch to give you a little bit more utility as well. Oh yeah, Follow Me for Riolu 2 isn't the worst move. Again, with the Focus Sash, you'll definitely get at least a free turn if you need to get a you know, Swords Dance or Dragon Dance off, like some sort of setup or a Trick Room with your other teammate. You can Follow Me, and with Prankster, Follow Me will actually be a +4, so you'll still outspeed faster Fake Out Pokemon, which is one of the ways you know, some Pokemon can get around Follow Me with the fast Fake Out. Alright, now that we've gone over automatic setters and our Prankster Pokemon, we're finally on to our abusers here. So we're going to start with Rain. The main ability, well, really the only ability that Rain gets to abuse is Swift Swim, which doubles the Pokemon's speed when they're in the rain. Rain will also increase your water attacks by 50%. So that means that all these water Pokemon with Swift Swim, their water attacks are going to be hitting huge, even against Pokemon that have resists, such as grass types. You're still going to take a decent chunk out of them. And as we all know, water types always have ice moves to take care of those grass type Pokemon. So Ludicolo's the best rain abuser in this format. It has a really good typing, water, grass. You're only weak to flying, poison, bug, and there's just not a lot of those typings in the game. Like flying, yeah, to an extent, but poison and bug you're not going to see a lot of. So having that good typing, being resistant to ground is pretty huge. And you just have a really good move pool with Hydro Pump as your main stab, Energy Ball for your grass, Ice Beam, and then Protect. You could also run Fake Out on Ludicolo for certain sets. Very, very good Pokemon for sure. Run that Life Orb so you get a little extra attack. But Swift Swim doubling speed is huge. For the Sun, you get your Chlorophyll users, which is the same ability as Swift Swim but applies to the Sun. Venusaur got nerfed hard in this. It lost Earth Power, it lost Weather Ball. So really all it gets access to is like Leaf Storm, Sludge Bomb, Sleep Powder, and Protect. That's basically the only set you'll really see with Venusaur. So right now I really like Victory Bell because it got Weather Ball. So that lets you run your dual stab of Leaf Storm and Sludge Bomb, as well as Weather Ball, which in the Sun is a 100 base power fire move. So with the Sun boost, that's 150 base power fire attack. And you can run Protect, or you could even run Sleep Powder with Victory Bell. All very good options. For other Chlorophyll Pokemon, you do have Vileplume, who has some interesting utility in Follow Me, or excuse me, After Me. Exeggutor, Blossom, Jumpluff, Sunflora, Shiftry, Tropius, and Tangrowth. Now, not all of those will run Chlorophyll. Maybe like Shiftry would. Tropius would probably run Harvest, which is guaranteed in the Sun, so that's not like the worst thing. Jumpluff might run Chlorophyll. Like, you could be a super fast Jumpluff in Chlorophyll. And Exeggutor would still have decent speed with Chlorophyll if you don't want to run it on a Trick Room team. Then we also have Solar Power, which takes advantage of the Sun as well. You see here adding a 50% boost, a 1.5 times boost to the Pokemon special attack, although it will lose 1/8 of its HP a turn while it's in the Sun. Only Charizard has this in this generation, which makes Charizard the best offensive Pokemon in the Sun. That base 100 speed is very nice, of course. So great, you can throw a Choice Specs on this. It gets access to Heat Wave for spread damage, Flamethrower for consistent stab, Air Slash, and Solar Beam. All great. If you are going to make a Sun team, you definitely got to look at Charizard. Now, in our tier list, Charizard is in the same tier as Torkel, so that could be a little bit difficult for you. You would have to go with Ninetales as an automatic setter, but it is an option. Now we're moving on to Sand here. And with Sand, you have two abilities that care about it. You have Sand Veil, which you see here on Garchomp, which increases the evasion of the Pokemon by 25%. So that's pretty big. Other Pokemon that get Sand Veil include Sandslash, Dugtrio, Golem, Donphan, Cacturne, and Gliscor. So you could make a relatively defensive Sand team. Out of those, only Golem has the Rock type to get that special defense boost. And let's be honest, Golem isn't very good. But Garchomp will run Sand Veil in doubles over Rough Skin, just because there's not too many physical attacks in doubles. Earthquake, Dragon Claw. You probably want to run Rock Slide. And Swords Dance. Pretty common stuff there. The other ability that takes use of Sand is Sand Rush. Now, in this generation, only Sandslash gets Sand Rush. So, this is the only Pokemon you get that will double its speed in the sand. Sandslash, not the fastest, but with a jolly nature, it will hit over 500 speed, so you'll be able to outspeed basically everything. I can't think of off the top of my head what with a Choice Scarf might be able to outspeed you. Not even Garchomp with a Choice Scarf would outspeed you with Jolly. So it's still going to outspeed everything. You still get Earthquake with the right partner. Fast Rock Slides, Poison Jab, Swords Dance. You know, still pretty solid. And you can pick that up in a pretty low tier as well. So our final weather, of course, is Hail. In the Hail, the only ability this generation that works with Hail is Snow Cloak. Same thing as Sandveil. You get the 25% boost to your evasion. There are no Pokemon with Slush Rush in this generation, in this game. So nothing offensive for Hail. Again, Hail's not really a strategy in these games. I do not recommend anybody make a Hail team, but if you do, if you pick up that Abomasnow and you want to throw a Glaceon or an Articuno on there, they do get access to Snow Cloak. A couple other Pokemon with Snow Cloak are Mamoswine and Frostlass, although I think there are, you know, Mamoswine should probably always be running Oblivious, and Frostlass should probably be more of like a just Focus Sash, I want to die sort of Pokemon, although I think it would still run Snow Cloak over Cursed Body. But yeah, Glaceon has that great 130 special attack. It can be used on Trick Room teams as well. It's got a relatively low speed. So if you want to run a Trick Room Hail team, you know, maybe set up your Trick Room the first turn, throw out Abomasnow and Glaceon, just start smashing with Blizzard. Hey, that's not too bad of a strategy. So now that we've gone over the setters, the prankster Pokemon, and the abusers, we have to know how to counter the weather teams. Again, we only have 7 automatic setters, 2 for rain, 2 for sun, 2 for sand, 1 for hail. There's only so many, there's only 5, you know, prankster Pokemon that can only really do sand and rain. And there's only so many, you know, Pokemon that can abuse those. So not every team is going to be a weather team. If I were to guess, I'd say that there will probably be, you know, there'll be 2 rain teams, probably 2 sun teams. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone, you know, gets like Tyranitar with Sandslash, you know. So I think there'll be 5 teams. So the other 11 teams got to figure out how to play around those teams when they face them. The great thing of this format is there is no more Dynamax, which means certain Pokemon can actually like survive an extra turn, right? You're not getting hit with this huge move right off the bat. Redirection from Pokemon like Pachirisu, Follow Me, Rage Powder, those sort of effects are great. That allows your other Pokemon to KO either their abuser or their setter, whichever one you feel is more important to knock out. None of these Pokemon, other than Ludicolo, would have Fake Out, but if Ludicolo's faking you out, then it's not attacking you, so that's not that bad. So redirection is very powerful. Another thing is a lot of the power of weather comes from their doubling in speed, so setting up your own Tailwind is very huge. Matching that double speed for a few turns. Most Pokemon on weather teams are kind of in that mid to lower speed tier because of that doubling speed. So if your team is even just relatively fast, like somewhere in the 80s or above, and you get Tailwind, you will outspeed these weather teams. And on that same vein, just the reversal is Trick Room. If you're able to get Trick Room up and therefore use your bulk and power while reversing the speed order, that is also huge to combat weather teams. And again, just the overall power level of this generation without Dynamax is so much lower. Another thing you can do is draft these utility Pokemon, such as Quillfish, for example, which typically you might want to run with Intimidate one of the best abilities in doubles. But against rain teams, you could run it Swift Swim. It has a nice 85 base speed, which is faster than most Swift Swimmers, and can give you some access to some good utility moves, Thunder Wave, Taunt, and if it's about to get knocked out by, say, your opponent's Weather Abuser or Setter, it can go for a fast Destiny Bond while in the rain to take them down with it. Another Pokemon that kind of fits in the same vein would be Chlorophyll Vileplume. Now, while it has a pretty low speed stat, so therefore I would probably want to run a Choice Scarf on it, you can use Fast Sleep Powders, which will affect all the non-grass Pokemon on some teams, and it also gets access to After You, which allows its partner to move right after it. So Vileplume with that Choice Scarf in the sun should outspeed everything. And therefore, since it's outspeeding everything, your partner will outspeed everything. And the last one is just to have general counters. Against rain, Scizor is a great counter. Against sun, you could say that most, water Pokemon just in general are good counters. You gotta watch the solar beams, but that's not too bad. But yeah, that's about it. So let me know what you think. Do you feel you have enough knowledge to combat these weather strategies, or to draft around them yourself? Stay tuned for tomorrow, where we will be going over other strategies in the game as well. And until then, stay classy, society.